Welcome all, and thanks. Especially, I would like to start with thanking all the organizers of Global Power Platform Bootcamp 2024 Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, especially Mohammed El Kasas, who has been uh, wonderful in providing the opportunity, as well as been liaising with me from the time the opportunity came through. I am Bhargav Reddy. I have about 15 plus years of experience. I work as a solution architect currently at TCS. I'm part of a niche team within TCS called Rapid Apps Automation Team that develops quite a lot of digital workplace solutions as well as caters to quite a lot of industries as well as clients. I have been certified multiple times within SharePoint and Power Platform and have extensive experience from server-side programming to client-side programming as well. And of late, I've been exploring quite a lot of the low-code, no-code platforms as well. So if there is something pertaining to Power Pages or Power Platform, do reach out to me. I'm available on LinkedIn. You can scan through, probably just pause for about 10 seconds. You can follow me and we can get together if there is a quick chat that you need to have pertaining to a solution that you're building. Just a quick overview. Most of you already know where this comes into the picture. Power Platform data was being with the backbone. Power Apps, which is being used for application development. Power Automate for workflow automation. And any reports and dashboards, you would use Power BI. In order to develop your chatbots or virtual agents, you would use the Copilot Studio, which has been renamed. It was earlier called as Power Virtual Agents. And website development, you would lean towards Power Pages. So most of the configurations that I have enabled today for this particular demo are on Power Pages. And Copilot is a great addition that Microsoft has added into the world of Power Platform to unlock creativity as well as unleash productivity, right? But most of the times, not everything can be like no code, low code. Sometimes you might need to also take the pro code approach. When it comes to Power Pages, currently with the topic of today, which is DocuSign integration with the Power Platform, most of the settings that we are going to deal with, and with the limited amount of time that we have for the session, we will look at some of the out-of-the-box configurations which have been released in preview functionality by Microsoft, and take a look at how you can go about enabling those settings, create your templates, enabling those settings, and work with what we have within the Power Pages ecosystem. A quick look of what some of the low code to pro code capabilities are. Most set of features that you see to the left in the orange are no code, low code features. And what you see to the right, which is more organized in blue, is basically where you take the custom approach. With Power Pages standards features, which is what are some of the site settings that we see here. I'm just going to quickly put the pointer here. So what you see here as site settings, these are the aspects that we are going to actually look at today, and some of the setup capabilities as well. And most of the integrations that we are seeing today are enabled through Power Automate. So there are a set of background flows which have been added with the DocuSign integration. We'll take a quick look on them as well. If you are starting new, you are a young developer, you don't know much about how to explore these particular things, I would recommend that you probably need to wire up a 365 E5 trial account and add the Microsoft Power Platform Community Developer Plan. Create an environment for yourself and a solution to add all your components, and then extend these particular capabilities that you see, basically for Power Pages, you have the Pro Dev tooling. So you can extend most of the particular features using Visual Studio Code. If you want to download and upload the portals, you would probably use Power Platform CLI and work a bit with the Power Platform Tools extension, which is added on top of the Visual Studio Code. And then the XRM toolbox in special cases, like especially when I work with query builders, when I'm using liquid programming or need to work with Dataverse REST API or to get the portals web API code, probably will rely upon certain tools within XRM toolbox like Fetch XML Builder or Portals Helper. Let's take a small pause and see what is DocuSign. But before getting into what is DocuSign, what are e-signatures? So I kind of want to take a small journey back for like when you were kids. you would be really excited to see the mailman, and you would go and probably see, that the postman arrives and he drops your letters or your mails into a particular box. And then times changed, and we have something like mails, which got converted into emails, which are more like electronic mails. And today, most of the communication in the world, I would probably say that happens through emails, right? Similarly, signatures as well play an important part. And in order to enable the physical process of signing in a digital world, the concept of electronic signatures came into existence. It's a widely accepted modern system for agreements and can be used across different use cases and scenarios. And it also assures that it reduces some amount of dependency when it comes to travel, or when it comes to basically the labor that is involved in going and physically signing, right? And you can also create business processes which are very fast in nature by procuring these e-signatures in a digital manner. And what is DocuSign? So DocuSign is basically an org which kind of supports these digital signatures and applies them to the local standards. And it's a very robust e-signature platform that Microsoft has probably shaken hands with and integrated into the Power Pages. It is quite well integrated with Power Apps and Power Automate as well in the background. You can actually develop solutions if somebody is coming from the Power Apps world, and they can use a combination of Power Apps and Power Automate in the background to go ahead and create your own solutions when it comes to Canvas apps. But with what I'm seeing as the changes that constantly being added into Power Pages, DocuSign is a great integration. It's actually digital signature is actually divided into three kind of signatures. What we will be looking at is electronic signatures only. There are also something called advanced electronic signatures and qualified electronic signatures. Trust me, even I haven't explored that. Probably it's a food for thought for your learning. So in order to look at the current demo today, what are some of the things that we will require? So the first thing we might require is we need a template. We need to write up a template. So I'll show you a Word template which I've created to start with. And you need a DocuSign account with the predefined template and e-signatures. And once you do that, once you upload your templates, there is a particular template ID, which is very important. You need to note it down. And then you need a developer plan account, which I've already mentioned in the previous slide, to test the DocuSign integration. You need to wire up a Power Pages site. And the next procedure is you need to enable the integration from the setup tab. There will be certain issues pertaining to the flow connection references. And also you need to ensure that you add the template. Once the installation and the configuration is done, you need to create a multi-step form. What I'm observing is this is a current limitation with Power Pages. It cannot be added to basic forms. It is something that can be enabled on multi-step forms. Also, let's take a look at some of this functionality in action. To be honest, some of this is in preview and could have bugs, and it's quite erratic. Sometimes it works and sometimes it does not yet. And Microsoft is constantly collecting feedback. But we will look at some of the capabilities in reality, like how you can actually integrate the core capabilities of DocuSign, correct those particular signatures, and also apply those particular stamps in the system. So from the slides perspective, this is what I had. So we'll start with a demo with the template. So I have a Word template here. I have named the Word template as DocuSign Showcase template. Just quickly open it. I'm actually the founder of a Microsoft community, a tech community in India. We kind of organize similar events and boot camps and quite a lot of cities. So I have created an agreement, just a very sample agreement using ChatGPT for IMTC, and just called it as DocuSign Showcase template. Just has about a 2-page random text which generally appears within agreements. But the idea is to showcase how I would be able to collect digital signatures against these agreements if I can configure the right settings within Power Pages and enable the DocuSign integration. So having said that, let's start first with taking a look on DocuSign end. So the first thing that you do is you have to have an account within DocuSign. So you register to DocuSign.com, a login. I'm using one of my personal accounts here. You would want to avoid that in business scenarios, probably create a more like a service account, which will kind of help you out with the scenario. And once you hit the home page, the real tab that you need to work with is called templates. So I've already created a template here. I'm not going to change any settings, but I'm just going to quickly showcase how to create an additional template so as to be able to look at some of the settings that you will encounter and what are some of the values that you need to supply there. So template name is self-explanatory. It is a name that you provide and a particular description. Add documents provide you the ability to create or upload certain predefined documents. In our case, it is going to be the agreement. Add recipients. Basically, we are mentioning that this is the setting that we need. It says in-person signer or needs to sign, receives a copy. So once this is enabled, you add a particular role here, and then you add a message for email notifications that need to be triggered. A very basic set of settings. And click on next here. So let me just create a test template for your understanding. We call it test template signer. You click on next. It says at least one document is required. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to tamper with my existing templates. So I'm just going to create a copy to update here. And upload the copy here. Once the document is uploaded successfully, you can see it gives you the tab ability to create the view as well. You click on next, and then this is where DocuSign provides you all the configuration options in order to add the signatures. So if I needed to configure this particular document, the first thing that I want to do is probably get the signature. I would add the sign here. I would probably also want it to showcase some kind of an initial, add it here. A stamp basically, kind of indicates you can add a logo or something like that, and it kind of can be set as a constant, which will appear in all documents. And you would also want to showcase the date signed. Once this process is complete, you click on close. In my case, I already have a template, so I'm not going to do recreate a new template. I'm just going to quickly showcase an existing template. So this is my template, and I'm going to use this template. And in reality, let's see how this will work. But let's move on to from the Power Pages perspective. Imagine that you have already completed all of this. So that means that your template is ready. From the DocuSign perspective, you are done. You don't need to continue any actions. But one thing is very, very important, like we saw in the slides, is to make a note of this particular template ID. Do not worry if you do not copy it for the first time. It will still be available. You can come back and you can go into your templates and access your template in order to get the template ID. Coming back to Power Pages, the most important aspect that I've observed is that some of the functionalities, preview functionalities, work well with standard models and enhanced models, and some have issues with both the models. In my case, I have tested both standard and enhanced models. I will try to showcase what happens with the settings in both the models. So here, what you see is a standard environment that I have created. Additionally, I have another environment called Praxis here, where I have created a very basic set of sites so that I can showcase to you the settings that are required to be enabled. So I have two sites here. I'm just going to use this particular site because this is the site that I need to utilize to showcase the settings. So I'm going to edit the site. The first thing that you need to be aware is that this DocuSign integration is available from the setup tab. The moment you click on this, do not be fooled that it should be available in the CloudForce integration. It will not be, though it uses CloudForce in the background. It actually is available under the external apps tab under preview. Microsoft has recently also introduced the capabilities to integrate payment gateways, and one of the systems that it is enabled is Stripe. I think in future there will be more such integrations directly added into the suite. So if you have not installed this already in your environment, the first thing that it will ask you to do is install. It takes about 5 minutes for it to install all the required packages, and then it changes the configuration to installed here. Since I've already installed this particular package in my environment, Praxis here, it is showing the status as installed. The next action I'm going to do is to configure it. Let's take a look as to what are some of the values that it requests us to complete. So the first thing it says is, since the packages are installed in the background, they expect certain connection references which need to be fixed. So the first thing we need to do is click on the create and sign flow and be in a position to update the required settings. So let's go here and take a look. Since I've already done this particular enabled this particular setting in my current environment, it has taken the default connection references, or else you would be in a position to see certain red symbols here. And the first thing that you'd have to do is click on edit, and it would display certain actions for you to sign in. And just a second, let it load. And once this is fixed and you sign in, the following flow will be displayed, which is basically it's doing certain set of activities in the background, and it's trying to get the sign-in URL, communicate with DocuSign with the account details that we are going to supply here, and it performs all the actions for us. The second flow as well, we need to click on that and fix the connection references. But apart from fixing the connection references, the most important aspect that we need to fix is to select the account. Kind of like the old interface. So let me go back there. So this is the important aspect, that is to select a particular account which will access the DocuSign trigger. So in my case, I will be using my personal account, which is configured already. So that is the reason it is already listing here, or else this will be empty and the account value needs to be set for the flow to function correctly. Once all of these particular settings are done and consider that you have applied that, the first thing that you need to do is say that I have resolved the connection references and click on next. That's it. The second panel, if you look at it, says close this panel and choose enable in the actions column, and enabled provider is ready to be added to a multi-step form. So the next step is basically as suggested there, to create a multi-step form. So in my case, what I have done is I have certain tables. So this is a site which is newly created, so I have not configured the solution. But let me go to another site which I've already have everything configured pertaining to my data tab. Which is this. So I have a table called Praxis Offers here. The fundamental is to create at least 2 steps in order to be able to see the DocuSign integration enabled on the multi-step form. So what we are going to do is I have created 2 particular steps, 2 particular forms. One is just to collect a very basic detail from the offer. So it will have 1 or 2 columns here. Yeah, offer name, offer description. That's the values that I'm collecting here. And the second one is to just get a value whether the copy is signed and also display the offer name which was auto-generated in the previous step. So let's go back now to the data tab. And since our forms are already ready, the next step is actually to create pages. So I have quite a lot of concepts regularly delivering sessions on Power Pages. So quite a few pages which I've created to display or to demonstrate certain demos. For this particular demo, I have created a tab called Form with Tabs. And I already have a multi-step form which is pre-configured here. So what I'm going to do is just to showcase to you the settings and the process, I'm going to create another page. I'll call it test page. I'm going to add this test page to my root here. I'm going to create a new multi-step form and call it as test multi. Click there. And this adds the multi-step form. The first thing that we need to do is to add the primary step. So I'm going to say, let's collect something like an agreement info. And I'm going to get that from something like this table. And here, this is the crucial part where I'm going to select which is the step that I want for the form. The next thing is you have the ability to enable attachments and also make some additional settings in that particular step. And then the next aspect is that once the step is created, the second step is to add the second form. So I'm going to just call it as DocuSign or just something like sign off. And here I'm going to select the sign praxis form. So it takes a while for this particular forms to show up here. It will not immediately show up. So the first thing is once the step is added, it takes a while for the setting to get enabled. What is the setting that we require? We want to enable the DocuSign integration on second step. So what we do is, again, we select second step, which is the sign off step, which is where we want to draw the sign off from the user against that particular agreement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the setup settings. And now when you look at app integrations, it shows something called enable e-signature. By default, this will be the value. Since I had already enabled it on my environment, I would see that, but or else it will first showcase it like this. And since we have already completed all the configuration required, it showcases this. Now let's click on enable e-signature. and select this. But you might have a question, how did this DocuSign showcase template start showing up here? Because we only fixed the connection references and we did not actually select a template. So let's take a look. From external apps, from here, so when you click on enable, after you fix the connection references, the next important step is to add the template. So when you click on add template, like I had mentioned, you will require the template ID from DocuSign. So click on here, copy this, provide the values here. Sorry, yeah, here. Now go back to DocuSign, choose the name of the template and supply it here. And then the role name is the role name that you have specified here. You can take the role name and add it here. And also configure which is the table where this particular feature must be enabled. And if there is some information that you need to draw back to the Dataverse columns, you can add tabs. I will leave that to your exploration, self-exploration, but I would probably encourage you to first be able to at least select the table, which is a mandatory column. My configuration is already complete here for DocuSign Showcase template. That's the reason I'm not going to do much here. Get back to the test page. And let's take a look if this particular functionality is working fine. I have seen that sometimes there is some amount of bugginess with this particular functionality, but let's hope it works from the Power Pages end. If not, we will at least be in a position to see how it renders from the DocuSign perspective at least. So by default, if you look at it, it is showcasing the first tab and it is expecting some kind of a description to arrive here. But I have not signed in. Let's take a look. What happens generally to forms is that we need to provide permissions to the forms. So I'm going to take a look here if the permissions are enabled. And I think already there are some set of permissions which have been added in order to be in a position to upload and make some changes to that particular table. So I'm going to supply a description value here. But before that, let me just log in to be an authenticated user. I'm going to click on Azure AD. It's going to just take me as a default user. Now I'm going to supply description, some random value. And when it goes to sign off tab, see, by default, it should actually showcase the functionality that we were trying to enable, which is the DocuSign functionality. But since this is in preview functionality, we do see certain bugs like this, which is within an enhanced model site. I'm seeing a bug which says unable to find control with ID nodes control that is associated with the label. And the console throws certain bearer token kind of issues. And when it comes to the standard model as well, we have similar issues, but the error is something to do with an entity. But overall, if you would like to see in reality how the sign off would be completed, so what would actually happen is you would see a particular small grid here in which the document would open, the agreement which has been associated as a template here would open up in a window and you would be able to sign that particular document. So in order to take a look at that, let's go to DocuSign directly and see how we can use one of our templates, existing templates. So I'm going to use this particular template, which I already have created, called DocuSign Showcase template. When you click on use here, it says provide a username. So I'm going to provide a username and click on send. So what this will actually do is it will send me a request to sign that particular document. And in order to sign, I can go to manage or I can go to home. Both the tabs will display that there is a request for me to complete. So if you look at it, this was the request that got generated 1 minute ago, which we did it currently, and I need to action upon it, which is basically to sign. I can also access the same from manage as well. So here as well, I have the sign tab. In reality, this signature should have been collected from this particular page on Power Pages. Apologies that due to the issues that I have with the integration, I'm unable to show that, but I hope you get an idea as to how DocuSign can be integrated and how the signatures will be something that you can retrieve and complete the e-signature process. So let me click on sign here. And this is what I was mentioning, that under this tab, you would be in a position to see the same interface. When you click on continue, you would see that these are the 3 set of values that are actions that I need to complete on this particular page. What I'm going to do is, since I've already configured my signature on DocuSign, I'm going to click on sign, and it starts showing me my signature, and it says DocuSigned by, and there is a certain ID, and then I have a logo already configured for my document, and when I click on stamp, it shows my logo, and then an initial. So once this is done, you can click on finish, and that completes the e-signature workflow process. And now it is saying that there is also another document that you would like to complete. Yeah, I would just say yes, let me just complete that. And that's it. When you go back to manage on your DocuSign, you should be able to see that all requests are successfully closed. So this was a quick session that I had planned for all of you today. I hope you had some amount of information. Successfully, I hope you will be able to work on these DocuSign integrations and be able to integrate this. And I hope that Microsoft, kind of enhances the capabilities of DocuSign integration in the days to come, and the preview functionality will be more generally available, and it will start working in a more seamless fashion within Power Pages. Thank you, everybody.